Question 41 Dunn says, would the conqueror or chariot then represent the culmination of the action of the first 6 archetypes into a conquering of the mental processes, even possibly removing the veil? Ross says, this is most perceptive. The archetype 7 is one difficult to enunciate. We may call it the path, the way, or the great way of the mind. Its foundation is a reflection and substantial summary of archetypes 1 through 6. One may also see the way of the mind as showing the kingdom of fruits of appropriate travel through the mind, in that the mind continues to move as majestically through the material it conceives of as a chariot drawn by royal lions or steeds. At this time, we would suggest one more full query, for this instrument is experiencing some distortions towards pain. So finally, we arrive at the archetype, the last archetype, which is the great way of the mind. You see, at this point, the significator is changing. This is where the choice has been made, and there is the possibility of the significator, not the possibility, but the certainty of the significator changing. So, what does Ross say? One may also see, no, they said something else before this. Great way, its foundation of reflection, a substantial summary of archetypes 1 through 6. So, as far as I understand it, this is not the end of the evolution, but the reason, right? We go through all these processes. We want to change the significator. In fact, the significator is always changing and wanting to change. This is what people confuse as improvement. Actually, we can call it improvement, and that's fine. But when we start seeking improvement from the point of view of scarcity, for example, I am not enough and I need to improve, that's a sort of cancerous mentality. And I've seen it time and again, because when I say I've seen it mostly in me, and then I see it reflected in others, because not reflected, but I recognize it in others because I've lived it myself, in which you feel that you need constant improvement and you're seeking that improvement. Whereas the calm mind knows that changes are happening, and these changes are welcome. They are not to be sought after as a sort of, I need it because I'm incomplete, because you're always complete the way you are. That's why we call it perfection. You are perfect the way you are. And it's unfortunate, or let me put it 2 ways. It is unfortunate, and at the same time, it's fascinating that we have so much of this in our culture right now of seeking improvement. This is coming from our indoctrination of, remember, you are a being, a human, who needs to learn and become better at life, because life is tough, and you have to study, and you have to graduate, and you have to work, and you have to save for retirement and for the college of your kids and whatever else your culture is telling you that you must do. And then we get into spirituality and we say, I want relief from all of this, and you find yourself trapped again into, you need to do this for your energy, and you need to practice that, and you don't know how to meditate, so you need to practice for decades, and you will become better at stilling your mind, and so on. So you see, just like before in the physical, you're improving whether you study or you don't. You will get along with life. As long as you're happy, you will find ways to enjoy life and find money and find relationships and find objects, and everything will come to you, you see. But if we think, we are producing those changes, what a stress, what a weight on our shoulders. And likewise, when you get into spirituality, you start thinking, oh, now I have to do this, now I have to do that, now I have to practice this and that. I mean, if you feel like doing it, that's okay, you can do it. Just don't think you're getting something out of it that you don't have already. That's the cancerous part that I'm talking about. Allow it to change your life, whatever it is that you're doing. And you stop doing it, great. You just got the best out of it. So that is the way in which I see the great way. It's just that happening of the changes in the significator of your story, of what you feel you are. Successfully, this creates, of course, in my view, a happier or joyful life. That's why it's called evolution of the mind, and will continue to happen. You're not the same person you were before, and you won't be the same person you are now. Get with that, and you're fine. Know that this is the process of the mind, and you're just here to experience it and explore it and live it. So much, for having all that stress in our physical and spiritual lives, right? It's just the processes of the mind to perceive itself as something new. And it wants that, it loves that. Now, in terms of the evolution of the mind, we of course are talking about should I call it the beauty of enjoying transformation, enjoying change. That's what the cycle of the mind is. Becoming more satisfied with what you are, which, if you have been following me, it's not accepting who you are, because when you accept who you are, you change. So now you have to accept that. So become a task, right? No, just be always happy with what's happening right now, because you can't be fully accepting of yourself right now, because when you do that, you change. So now, do I need to accept the change me? Yes, but when you do that, you change again. So acceptance, it's not something that you do, it's what you are. So when you stay there and you say, oh, right, acceptance is what we are, and you stop, wanting to change, then all of a sudden you accelerate this changing process from a third point. I think it's just funny how this works. From a third person point of view, people would look at you and say, my God, how much you have changed. What have you done? And you say, nothing. I'm just here enjoying life. I'm just sitting here enjoying what happens. Of course, the person that you have changed is the one that was wanting to change. That I find it hilarious. I'm sorry, I don't take things seriously because I just enjoy them too much. It's ironic. It really is. More you try to change, the more stagnant you are. The moment you abandon this seeking of wanting to change, wanting to improve, suddenly everybody looks at you and say, wow, what a change. I want to be like you. At that point you say, stop trying to be like me and you will. I love this. I really do. So yeah, that's to me what great way is that part of the archetypical mind, which it's registering the changes in the significator, right? It's constantly finalizing the cycle of experience and catalyst to let me add in here the adept that Ra calls, because the adept is the one that is doing the work, whether conscious or unconscious, on the archetypical mind. Or rather, the archetypical mind is working in a more efficient way. Let me put it that way. The archetypical mind is working more efficiently as the adept becomes more interested in spiritual seeking. And as the adept moves on in its experiential continuum, then the acceleration of this process it goes more into the grade way. Now, what is the adept attempting to do? As Ra says, the adept lives more and more as it is, Ra says, which means the adept is relaxing its own seeking. It's becoming more accepting of reality. So all of this, it's bringing us back to the stillness of being aware, just becoming aware of your thoughts, of your emotions, of your reactions. Is that timeless suggestion to be more calm, to be, did I use the word acceptance too much already? To be more accepting. That is the invitation, right? The age-old invitation to be more accepting of reality, to be more still in your mental activity. And when I say mental activities, not trying to still your mind, because who's trying to do it? But the one that wants improvement. No, just enjoying the stillness of the mind. Whenever you see it, whenever you spot it, you say, oh, there it is. See? And you let your thoughts go and ramble and so on. And then suddenly you get another moment of flash and you say, oh, there it is, the stillness. Become aware of that. So that is, to me, the great way. There's a lot more to say, I'm sure, but that's all that comes to mind right now. What else did Ra say? One may also see the way of the mind, or great way, as showing the kingdom of or fruits of appropriate travel through the mind, in that the mind continues to move as majestically through the material it conceives of as a chariot drawn by royal lions or steeds. That's a lot of poetry right there. At this time, okay, well, that's you see, all of this is picturing a landscape, a panorama of how we perceive ourselves, right? It seems to me that these words of majestical, drawn by royal lions or steeds, you know, this whole, how can somebody feel, you know, in a moment like this? I mean, somebody who enjoys this, of course, I would feel pretty awkward, you know, being drawn by royal lions or steeds majestically. But within context, you know, somebody who feels like this, it feels magnanimous. It feels like it's, you know, the king of the world. Not on the negative side, but I guess you could also see it that way too, right? You can feel like I am the one dominating life. The feeling is the same as saying, I am this whole thing. You see? Isn't there beauty there with the negative and the positive, right? The negatives feeling, I am the owner of this universe. Whereas the positive is saying, I am the universe. The feeling is the same. Only that two different approaches. And you can see the divinity in both then. I like it. I actually like it. It's a very poetical way of describing the feeling of how the great way allows this transformation of the mind to feel more itself. That's the purpose of the evolution of the mind. And again, we're no strangers to this, because we have seen ourselves change But here's where judgment comes in, because there's a lot of the self-judgment as to what I have become, what I could have been, and so on. This is catalyst, as Ross says, that has gone awry, because everything that has happened in your life has transformed you into this, and everything that you have been in the past has not been worse than now. It's been perfect at the time. You see, let me give it last analogy here, which is the evolution of species on Earth. Can you possibly say that a bird right now is more majestic and perfect than a dinosaur or an amoeba? You cannot, because all of them have been perfect for their environment, and that is evolution, not of the planets, but of the whole universe. You see, it's a perfect moment. It's the perfect persona for the moment and the environment, and you are becoming that every single day of your life, every minute, every thought, everything. So follow this and you will see what I mean. There is no way to say that I will become better. No, you're perfect for this moment right now, and you will be perfect for the next moment. That is true, but you were also perfect in the past. So why seek perfection? Throw that out of the board.